to 3, which is about the operational expenditure part of the exercise. And one of the things that you'll have heard before about BIM is that most of the benefits are delivered in the asset management later on in the job, and I liken it to a sort of mixed sport relay race. And so in a mixed sport relay race, you have the design stage, which might be a 400 metres run. You have the construction stage, which we make them do in about 200 metres run. Then you have this sort of changeover bit, which is an explosive activity at handover, which might be a high jump. And then you have a marathon, which is the asset management stage. So it kind of makes sense that a lot of the benefits are going to be going there. And so
obviously, operation and maintaining. For me, there's a chunk missing there, which is the demolition and the decommissioning. Something now that we have to think about in our design process. Doesn't feature there at all. Maybe they don't worry about it in the States, but for us, it's something that we must do now, and therefore needs to be incorporated into the process somewhere along the line. This is our view of BIM. This was done by one of our structural guys.
What's the push all about? Well, obviously it's to facilitate the greater uptake of BIM across the supply chain and deal with all that stuff in the middle that Keith referred to earlier. There are a myriad or a proliferation of vendors out there all claiming to offer the solution. As David has already picked up on, they themselves at McDonald use a wealth of different IT packages to deliver their approach to BIM. Common concept though, the application of the maturity model, which you've all seen. That's a simplification of it, so I won't go through that in any great detail.
I just have a comment on the McDonald BIM diagram that you showed, the hand-drawn one with the BIM model in the middle, yeah, and the individual architectural engineering models around it. As well as showing arrows into the BIM model, you also show arrows between the sort of sub-models. And I think there lies a certain amount of danger in that, firstly, the sub-model should be, so the individual architectural engineering models should be subsets of the BIM model, and all communication ought to go into the BIM model if you want to get full coordination.
Yeah, I think
so that the arrows between the individual sub-models could be dangerous, a bit like sending drawings attached to emails and such like, which cause a certain amount of chaos.
I think the idea really, our concept there was that we offer many of those professions under one banner. So we might do some of that stuff before it gets published to the central model. So there may be some coordination that goes on between the M&E team and the structural team during the process, and then we publish a coordinated output. And therefore, you can do that under one banner, perhaps. And that's the idea there, I think.
Yeah, it's got to be carefully managed there, hasn't it?
It has, yes, but
the 1192 process is exactly what you're asking for, and what you probably achieved. And I think the bubbles was to show that we can talk to everybody. I don't think you were trying to illustrate chaos with your bubbles. You probably,
I probably like a bit of chaos.
You probably do follow the 1192 process in that nothing gets issued until it's ready for whatever the purpose of that issue is.
Yes, clearly. I mean that's a sketch rather than our final output, as it were. Clearly, part of our workflow is to identify at which points we publish and what